Susan Wood. Susan Wood is an award-winning broadcaster who currently hosts TVNZ Q&A and is stand-in host on News Talk ZB's Breakfast and Fry programs. Please put your hands together for Susan Wood.
Good morning to you all. I am Susan Wood. Welcome to the 4th Annual Go Global, focused on celebrating international business success and innovation. Wonderful to see such a packed room today. This is a practical and high-level experience. It will help New Zealand businesses learn from exporting strategies and international successes of other businesses around the globe. What I know is we will hear some fantastic stories today. We are also pleased to welcome a number of chief executives, also government officials. They are all here with the one purpose of expanding our business internationally. Today, we've got a real mix of presentations. It's Q&As, it's discussion sessions. We want to get you involved. This morning, we hear from the CEO of NZTE, followed by a 3-person session, which will be fascinating, about specific stories. So they will share exactly what they did to make it on the international markets. After morning tea, we hear from the wonderful Annabelle Langbein, who I can assure you is way more than just a pretty face. She has been places where others have not trod yet, so we will hear from her. We're then going to break into country-focused groups, just to remind you, the US, the UK, Australia and Asia. We move rooms for that. Well, some of us will stay here and some will move rooms, but I'll give you details on where to go on that a little later. Then into the afternoon, we continue our theme of innovation to look at innovative ways to access capital, presented by the VNZ. We'll discuss how to build your presence in overseas markets and finish the day looking at how to commercialise innovation, R&D and IP with Callaghan Innovation. Just a little bit of housekeeping. There will be time for questions at the end of each presentation, so please do think of the odd question if you can. In the event of emergency, please leave in an orderly fashion and meet at the base of the Sky Tower. Now, I am told the alarms will tell us what to do, so we're getting pretty high-tech today if the alarms will tell us what to do. Phones off, please, or on vibrate. Toilets are outside the door and up the stairs. Following the conference is an evaluation form, and we really appreciate if you fill those out so that every year we can continually improve. And if you've got a dietary requirement and you've requested a special meal, just turn up out the front and you will be fed. Our sponsors, well, we wouldn't be here today without them. Let me run through and thank them. Our gold sponsors, Callaghan Innovation and BNZ Partners. Silver sponsors, NZTE and AJ Park. And Export New Zealand national sponsors, Air New Zealand Cargo and QBE. Now, Callaghan Innovation have a stand outside, which looks fantastic. And also they are giving away 3 books, The Power of Us, New Zealanders Who Dare to Dream. And I was just listening actually this very morning to Mike Hosking talking about it. It's Derek Handley's book. He was reading from it. It sounds fantastic. So visit that stand and put yourself in the draw to win one of those 3 books. Please also take today as an opportunity to network and engage with other exporters, government and your association. This is about creating networks. You're going to have ongoing opportunity to influence policy in New Zealand and ultimately ensure our place in the world. So to help with that networking, just turn around and say hello to someone you have not said hello to, please. All right, plenty of time for talking. Plenty of time for talking shortly. What a great bunch, you've got lots to say. All right, we are getting seriously high-tech today. If you look in your bags, you'll see one of these. Zorro. It is a web-based system. It allows us to ask, answer questions. You are involved in this. It'll be right throughout the day. So log on to the website. It is all on here, on this piece of paper. So in your bags, you'll find it. You can scan in the QR code, or you can log on. Gives you the passwords, tells you how to do it. I've done it, so it can't be hard. And we'll be asking you questions over the day for you to answer. You can ask questions of our speakers via Zorro as well. You can use an alias if you prefer. John Key, probably not the best one to use, but hey, if you want to. And of course, we will have mics on hand if you want to ask the questions in person. Time now to introduce Catherine Beard, who is Executive Director of Export New Zealand and Manufacturing New Zealand. They are divisions, of course, of Business New Zealand, which is New Zealand's largest business advocacy group, representing thousands of businesses right across the country of all shapes and sizes. And the group's goal is very clearly New Zealand's prosperity through successful business. Catherine works with government and other key decision makers on issues of concern to exporters and manufacturers. And she was recently on the Prime Minister's trip to Indonesia and China. And I've got to tell you, she stayed up until the wee small hours of the morning to talk about that trip on News Talk ZB and be interviewed and really advocate for it. So I think she has a great voice, and you're about to hear from her now. Please welcome Catherine Beard.
Thanks, Susan. Well, it's my pleasure to welcome you all here today. It's fantastic to see such a big crowd of exporters in one room, so please do take advantage of that and network. The sort of mantra that we're promoting at the moment is collaborate onshore to compete offshore. You know, we are a country of small to medium-sized companies when we get into overseas markets. Even our biggest companies in New Zealand are quite small when they get out there into the big wide world. So please do network and take that opportunity. It's particularly fantastic to see such a big turnout given that Export New Zealand, Auckland and the ASEAN Business Council currently have a trade mission in Indonesia, and they've taken about 50 companies off to do that. So awesome that there's companies here from all over New Zealand, so well done. A fantastic program. Please take advantage of we've got lots of talent in the room. We've got lots of NZTE staff here. We've got Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade staff. So most of them have overseas market experience, and they'll be in the appropriate breakout groups. So, you know, if you're interested in those markets, be sure to collar those people and ask them. We also have Export New Zealand exec officers here from around the country. We've got 7 regional offices. Could you guys stand up and give a wave? They're out there. So they do a fantastic job, I know, and they know all their exporters really well in their own their regions of New Zealand. So have an awesome day, and yeah, I hope you get lots out of it. So it's my pleasure now to introduce Phil O'Reilly, Chief Executive of Business New Zealand. Phil probably doesn't need too much introduction, as I think most of you will know him. He does an awesome job advocating for business both nationally and internationally. And he's probably one of the most networked people I've ever met. If Phil doesn't know them and they don't know Phil, then they're probably not worth knowing. So please welcome Phil O'Reilly.
G'day. You well? I hope I'll network with all of you today because I'm sure you're all worth knowing. Welcome to, we'll be in the bar later. Well, welcome to Go Global. Fantastic to see you all here, and I was just chatting to Tony Noel, long-time serving member of the Export New Zealand Advisory Board, and we were reflecting on the fact that this is the biggest Go Global by some distance, a capacity crowd today, and that says something about renewed confidence amongst exporters and amongst international traders. And I'll come back to that because I think it's important that we kind of recognise why that's happening, and we talk about that today so that we can make those representations to government and to the public about what's going on in the export sector. Can I thank many people today who've been instrumental in making this happen? Susan Wood, great to see you back, and great to see your keeping the faith. Susan's now an international media rock star, back again doing TV. So it's, she could have turned us down and said, no, it's too important for me to be here. But no, she did, and fantastic that you've kept the faith. Catherine Beard and the Export New Zealand team do a fantastic job every day in supporting actively and passionately the role of export and the role of international trade and international connectedness more generally. And so it's fantastic to see Catherine and all of the regional players here today as well. And the people I most want to thank actually for coming along with you, the real live exporters. I think you're the heroes actually. If you think about the success of New Zealand, it's about earning our way in the world, and often that's not quite well understood. Just in New Zealand, I don't think, not too many people understand just how big and difficult that can be, because every time you want to go do some business offshore, you've got to leave your family, you've got to leave your loved ones, you've got to leave the comfort of your house and your home and your surroundings and get on a plane and go do business. And that's a long way away for New Zealand firms, and it's often very, very tough to do that. And what you know as successful exporters, you can't do it once a year. You've got to keep at it, you've got to go at it and go at it and go at it and get familiar with those markets and be sophisticated and go up against the best. Often without the help of big government or big brands or big distribution networks. So the success of New Zealand will always be, has always been and will always be, playing in the niche. And that's what you all do. And it's fantastic to see you, and to see you here. And I'm very proud of being able to represent you, at least in some of my time, in terms of the government voice and the public voice. So it's you that we need more of to make sure that New Zealand's successful and that we can pay our way. Because our challenge, as Pete Crisp will no doubt tell you in a minute or two, is to grow our exports from 30% of GDP, as they currently are, about 32%, to 40% of GDP. It doesn't sound like much, but it's huge. That is a huge, huge ask. It's what we call in the management literature a big, hairy, audacious goal. And it's not immediately obvious how we might do that. It's that kind of goal. If it was easy to do, we'd have done it by now. And Peter and I were both in a meeting with a bunch of agriculture, food exporters and government guys yesterday in Wellington, just trying to get some idea around how we might do that, what we have to change in that sector of our economy and the way the government and business works together to actually achieve a good outcome. So conversations are going on around New Zealand around how to get there. And it's important that we also turn our minds to the issues around what would it take for your business to grow significantly, not just system growth, not just incremental growth. What would it take for your business to explode its growth, to actually grow in a much more aggressive fashion than it might have? And if we can have those kinds of conversations collectively, then people like Peter and I can help remove barriers for you, help you with ideas, help you with market access, help you with your voice in the national and international debate. So that's actually very, very an important point and a big challenge. And of course, one of the things we're seeing out there in the world right now is that those engines of growth that we used to traditionally think about are changing a little bit. It used to be that when we'd had a big recession like the one we've just been through in the world, the Great Recession, it used to be that the people who fundamentally towed us out of that recession were American housewives, were shoppers in the United States, and they would always sort of start shopping again and off we'd go to the races again and we'd get back into trend growth around the world. Well, as we know, that's not happening quite so much today through this recession, and what's really happening is that those global locuses of growth, those global foundations of growth are changing. And in a sense that creates a risk for us, of course, because of those established markets that we've got in many of those countries, but it also creates huge opportunities for us. And as I travel around the world, what I'm seeing is lots of new opportunities in the niche. So if I look at Europe, of course, still very stressed. I mean, one word to describe Europe, buggered, for a while, isn't it? Unless you're German, they're going quite well. They've got an undervalued Deutschmark called the euro, so they're going real well. But if you look at Europe, you'd say, that's a struggle to do business there, anywhere from sort of France down. It's all a bit hard. The Poms will be happy if they get away without a recession this year. But having said that, when you go there, you see that there's still some of the wealthiest countries on earth. I mean, they're not doing so well, of course, in terms of economic growth right now, but certainly in terms of per capita GDP and the kind of wealthier, richer and discerning kind of customer base that we tend to appeal to, still tons of opportunity in those markets, even in some of the most stressed states of Europe. And in fact, the fact that they're stressed and the fact that so many businesses domestically in those economies are kind of are distracted and are worried about their own balance sheets offers great opportunities for us if we can move into some of those markets. The US, building, but only slowly. I mean, the politicians just are not having a decent conversation about business at all and having a conversation about the tax department at the moment, as you know, which is fantastic, but nothing much to do about growing business and growing jobs. But what we're noticing when we talk to US businesses and our trade representatives is that increasingly business in the US is just getting on with it, despite the politicians, despite what they see as a lack of leadership out of Washington. They're kind of getting on and getting back to it because of that great competitiveness of the US economy that simply just comes through in the end. But it'll take a while for the US to build again. Many businesses there still standing on the sidelines, even though they've got strong balance sheets. Asia, returning to trend growth. ASEAN in particular, still strong for us. But some of those countries are some of the hardest places in the world to do business. Try Indonesia, it's a tough place in the world to do business, isn't it? The Philippines, tough place to do business. So some of the challenges of ASEAN are not about growth, but about where you go, how you de-risk your process, what you do about making sure that you can build your business effectively. China, once again, new leadership there and increasing focus. One of the first things the new Chinese premier said after he was elected or appointed or whatever they do there, he said food safety was an important issue for China. And that's a huge opportunity, once again, for New Zealand businesses. Many New Zealand food exporters doing great business in China and really moving ahead at a pace to pick up some of that market share. You know, those gee whiz statistics that I think about is we now sell more lamb in China than we do in the UK. It's an extraordinary thought. You know, it's just such a niche product in China, and yet we go really well at it. So, you know, new leadership there. But some headwinds, of course, and some of our more traditional trading partners, in particular Australia, the Australian business community and politics really in some disarray, isn't it, at the moment? You know, that, did I tell you about that $18 billion deficit that I hadn't told you about 2 years ago? Yeah, sorry, yeah. You know, so some of that, and the Australian business community really reacting very poorly to that, as you know, and things unlikely to get much better there anytime soon. They've really stressed in their manufacturing sector, and Sydney and Melbourne not doing so well. So Australia, which is a place that many exporters go to as a first market and as a more complex market, smaller exporters often more welcome in Australia than anywhere else, that's still going to be a bit of a headwind for us. So really, I guess my theme is this is a time of niches. This is a time of thinking about growth where growth may not be obvious, and it's about thinking about growth in areas where, despite those headwinds, then some of the headwinds we face in New Zealand too are still there. You know, so you can, despite the headwinds, despite all, those opportunities are still in the niche. And I haven't even mentioned the new growth areas of South America, for example. The Latins are, you know, really getting into growth in a big way and really love New Zealand, want to deal with us. And of course, out into the medium term, Africa, the African nations are rapidly starting to expand and become richer. So all of those, you know, it's a good time to be a Kiwi. Actually, there's lots of those niche exports opportunities in the middle class and in discerning consumers that'll be really helpful for us. What's happening in New Zealand? Well, we're building confidence. Our own Performance and Manufacturing and Services Index, if you fill those out, we really appreciate it. They're used by all and sundry in the capital and elsewhere. We're seeing increased confidence, good growth numbers in both manufacturing and services out over the last 4 or 5 months now, and I think that's something to do with the numbers in the room today. What I'm finding when I talk to exporters and when I talk to business people is renewed confidence based on 2 big themes. One, the rebuild of Christchurch, for those who are more domestically focused, but secondly, the recognition of that hackneyed phrase, the new normal. Those of you who are being successful, have decided to be successful despite all, despite the fact that some of those traditional markets like Australia are in a bit of a disarray, despite the fact that you've got a high dollar, despite the fact that skills mismatches still occur in our economy, even though there's high unemployment, you still can't get the right people. So despite all of that, you've made a decision to move forward, and that decision is often paying off for you. So one of the things I notice when I'm talking to business is very much more talk about the possibilities rather than the problems right now. They're not ignoring the problems, but many more businesses have worked out how to manage those and how to move ahead with them and how to make the best of them. So today you're going to hear from some experts, you're going to hear from some inspirational speakers, you're going to hear lots of ideas, you're going to hear lots of successes. Hopefully you'll hear also about some failures and challenges, because that's always good learning as well. And I wanted to mention, and you're going to have a lot of people in the room who are willing to help and wanting to connect with you. I just wanted to mention one, because Jeff Witcher at Auckland University threatened to beat me up unless I did. Joanna Grabowski sitting over here on my left, your right, and she's here to talk to you, for example, just as one example of the people in the room, about a Masters of International Business program, 18-month program. Kids from all over the world go to that program, including many of the target markets that you'll be thinking about. They've got to go to a 10-week internship with businesses, and they can help you on things like market entry, marketing, all sorts of stuff that might actually help you in your business, because they're also international business people, and they are also often from the target market. So Joanna over there can help you with that if you want to talk about that, but she's just one of the opportunities. The BNZ's here, Callahan's here, they're going to be interested to talk to you about innovation. All sorts of people here to help you and to give you ideas, and so I hope you take advantage of that. So today, ladies and gentlemen, it's about building your business, but not just for you. Building businesses in New Zealand means that we are successful in New Zealand, and that's actually what we're all about, isn't it? You know, business is a means to an end. It's not an end in itself. Business is actually about creating a better place for us to live and to work and to raise our kids. So we're very pleased that you took the time today to come. We're very pleased that you've taken the time to share and to come along here in good spirits with a good thinking about what we might do to make New Zealand a better place. I'll look forward to talking to you all during the course of the day. Have a great day.